Stay Get Inspired, everyone, and thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Life Inspired. So this is a program where everybody's talking about how and why they're following God, and it's just really exciting. There's so many times that God will step into a life and do something. We call it a ... moment where he shifts you from just the life that was going along to a new inspired walk with him. Sometimes that's the first time you ever met him. Sometimes you've been walking with him for a while and he steps in and says, hey, I want you to come do this. And so we're always looking for stories. If you know some, feel free to message us with someone that needs to be telling their story. And you can share these stories with people that you think need to hear this particular story. We talk about connecting with God is as different as your fingerprints, and some fingerprints are similar to others. And so if you think this story would impact someone else's life, please feel free to share it. The ways that you can share it, you can give them the lifeinspiredshow.com address, or on our YouTube channel. We do ask that you subscribe because that does help get us more people exposed to the program, or on our Facebook page. And so we ask that you like our Facebook page. Again, that gets us more exposure for people hearing how and why God is doing crazy stuff in people's lives. So our guest today, Mr. Jim, thank you so much for being with us, Jim, from the Habitat for Humanity. I'm so excited. You and I actually met because the Rotary Club was supposed to be helping with this, fall of 2020 new thing, which you have to tell us a little bit about that. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit first. Let's go first to the story that you're going to talk about in a turning point. Most people have several. I'm sure you're going to talk about one particular turning point. So that story, what's the backstory to it? What was the life going along before God stepped in and did something in your life?
Well, it's hard to believe that I've been here at Habitat for Humanity over 11 years. But my turning point, when you asked me to do this and I was thinking back on what those turning points were, one of the most significant ones for me was back in 2009. I was actually pastoring a church and had come to a point after 8 years where I felt like I was ready for a transition, but didn't know what that would be. And two people out of the blue called me on the same day and said, hey, Jim, Habitat in St. Joe County is looking for an executive director. We think you'd be a good fit. So I looked into it, and
no kidding.
The more I learned about it, I just realized I couldn't have picked a job that was more tailor-made for my background and what I love to do than here at Habitat. So here we are 11 years later.
So these two people that called you about this job posting both thought you'd be a good fit and didn't even know each other, and they just called you because there was a job posting.
Exactly.
Unbelievable. That's a very God thing. Just love to hear those kind of stories. So you were just a pastor for 8 years. That's your turning point. They give you a call. So let's talk about the inspired life. You have come to St. Joe County to work for Habitat. What does that look like? What does working for Habitat look like?
Well, one of the things that I learned about Habitat when I interviewed for this job was I learned that it was a Christian ministry, and I didn't know that. When I was pastoring a church, our congregation helped build 2 Habitat houses. And I always thought well of the organization, but the more I met with the local board here and just looked into the history of Habitat, I didn't realize it was founded by a man named Millard Fuller. And he looked at Habitat as a way to put his faith in action. And that really appealed to me. Now, here at Habitat, we can't proselytize. And of course, we'll build houses for people of no faith, people of different faiths. So we're open to everyone working with us, but we also don't apologize for the fact that we are a Christian organization and there's a reason why we do what we do. And there's a natural partnership between Habitat and churches. There's a nice synergy there. And all those things, as well as all the variety that goes with this job, really appealed to me.
Right. So being there for 11 years, you were able to be a part of the whole 2018 thing with the Jimmy Carter Project. Can you share a little bit about what that was like?
Oh, I would have to say that was the highlight has been the highlight of my Habitat career. I first started participating in what's called the Carter Work Projects back in 2011. And I think a lot of people know that former President Carter and his wife, Rosalind, they donate a week of their life every year to build houses with Habitat someplace in the world. And they've done that for over 35 years. Well, we put in an application to host that event. And a big reason, I would think one of the big reasons we got it is because of the support of a local architect by the name of Leroy Troyer. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He passed away shortly after the Carter Work Project. But he was President Carter's site supervisor, and he'd done that for like 35 years and worked alongside it. And Leroy, I know we don't have enough time to talk about it, but he was one of the finest Christian gentlemen I've ever known. And he played a role in helping us get the Carter Work Project to St. Joe County. But we had several thousand employees, volunteers come to help us build 23 houses that week. And we just had so much fun. They still tell me, Jim, this is going to be an event that we talk about in our community for decades. And it really made me feel good.
Right. Right. And I know, people that live around St. Joe County, it was a big deal to them that not only were the Carters both here, but that Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood were part of the build. And then he had his big Garth Brooks concert in the Notre Dame Stadium in the freezing, snowy cold. So that was a big deal to people that lived around here. Now, I was one of them. And we just bundled up and braved the cold, and that was a lot of fun. But so what about, there's this follow-up build that was supposed to be coming this fall. Has the coronavirus quarantine situation stalled that? Is that still on track to possibly happen? What's going on with that?
I'll tell you that this is good timing because I just gave an update to my board this afternoon before this call. And we've decided that we're going to postpone it because there's no way for us to do all the prep work that needs to be done right now to be ready for the September build. So we want people to still have a fabulous experience and to just really enjoy the event. So we're going to postpone the event, and we're looking at September of next year, and just telling everybody, and I think they're going to understand, there's so much that's being delayed because of this coronavirus. But we're still going to build. We still plan to build 6 houses by the end of the year. And we're just going to have additional houses to build for the event that's being delayed.
You're still going to build 6 houses in that same area?
We are. And we're going to do 2 major home rehabs that we're going to move families into those houses. We're going to do 5 major repairs for veterans in our community. We've also going to do a minimum of 5 more repair projects for seniors in our community. And we had to hit the pause button for a little bit, but we're pushing forward, and we're really excited what we're going to be able to accomplish.
Great. So we have a pretty great viewing base. So some of them might want to apply to, be a homeowner. Some of them might want to apply to be a volunteer. Some of them might want to apply to be a donor. Some of them might only have the resources to be a prayer partner for you. What can we address the audience and tell the people that are watching, how can they get involved in Habitat in any one of those capacities as a homeowner or any of the other capacities? What could you tell our people?
I think the easiest thing is to refer them to our website, which is hfhsjc.org. That is where anything they're interested in, volunteering, applying for a Habitat house, just signing up for our e-newsletter that'll keep them updated on what's happening, particularly about the Habitat Work Project and the latest scheduling and what have you. That's probably the best way they can get their questions answered.
Okay, so I'm going to have TJ put that right on the screen so that HFH is for Habitat for Humanity, and then what's the last part of the letters again?
SJC for St. Joseph County.
St. Joe County. So just HFHSJC. Got it.
Yeah.
.com. .org, not .com, .org. Okay, great. We'll make sure we have that on the screen, so even though we've kind of gone into detail. Well, Jim, I just am so grateful that you would come and share your turning point. So who knew? There's a lot of people think the only way to serve God is to be a pastor of a church or work for a church or something like that. But, we've interviewed other people that have other kinds of businesses, and Habitat for Humanity, just like you didn't know that it was a Christian organization until you said that. When I got involved with Rotary, I didn't know it was either. And so it's really exciting to find all that out. So thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for building.
Thank you.
And we'll be praying for you guys and for your ministry. So I do want to tell you guys that are watching, if you guys want to connect here, you can message us here, or you could just go to the website for our Habitat and connect with Jim. I know would love to have virtual coffee with you, or if we're out of quarantine by the time this airs, to have real coffee with you, right, Jim?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for viewing. And please, again, feel free to share, like, subscribe. God bless you, and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.